Tonight, we introduce the Coaches Carousel to the APFL. We have an update on the WRL invites, and we are looking for 4 more teams for the APBL. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. Looks like we've got a light crowd tonight. Oh, there's the 3 people just showed up all of a sudden. It showed 0, and then boom, 3 were there. So I appreciate you all that are out there. Throw a comment up here. That way I can put you up on the screen. Hey, so a couple quick topics to talk about tonight, most of them around the APFL, especially since we are introducing the Coaches Carousel for the first time in the league's existence. I wanted to kind of go over what that was going to look like tonight. A couple things with the WRL, APBL, something new on Discord that we wanted to talk about as well. So let's get started. Before we get to the Coaches Carousel, though, something we wanted to go over with the APFL. So the director and I, Toby, got together the other day, and we were trying to figure out what way can we show a nice graphic to the league so everybody knows who they're going to play in the 2025 season. So most of you might know that this is our 4th season in existence. We have decided that we're adopting a lot of the elements of the NFL. This is our NFL emulation league, and one of those things is the rotation of teams playing other teams in the other conference or cross conference line. So the AFC playing NFC teams and vice versa. So because those are done on 4-year rotations, this will be the last year where everybody on the AFC side has now played every team on the NFC side and vice versa. Sean's out there with us. Sean, how are you? Really liking the art that you're putting on Instagram. And if TikTok does go away, I guess that is going to be my next spot to go. So I actually, when Toby brought this up to me, we were trying to figure out the best way to present it. And we had a couple of different ideas, and all of them took multiple pieces of art to introduce it. And we didn't want that. We wanted to do it in a one snapshot. And then I remembered a piece of art that I've been holding on to since the NFL decided that they were going to go to an 18-week, 17-game schedule. We both looked at that. We put our brains together, and we're like, you know what? This is how we need to do it for the APFL. So I'm going to pull that up here on the screen for you in just a second and explain what that schedule is going to look like for the 2025 season if you are a general manager in the APFL. So what you are seeing is all of your opponents that you're going to play in 2025. So find your logo on this chart. Since it's me that we're talking about right now, we will go to the New York Wings, which is the 3rd logo over there on the AFC East side. For me, my schedule this year, not knowing the week by week yet, but at least who my opponents are, I'll play everybody inside my division twice. So I'll play Buffalo, Miami, and New England twice. Those are the other teams that are on the horizontal with me. In addition to that, the 4 teams that I'm going to play on the NFC side, which will be our 4th-year rotation, will be the ones directly across from me, which is the NFC South. You can see the divisional markers out there on the far edges. So I will play this year Tampa Bay, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Carolina. Now, we also have 3 strength of schedule games. For me, those are going to be the teams that are straight vertical with me, or since I'm on the top row in this case, the teams that are right below me: Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Kansas City. So without knowing week by week, we at least know who our opponents are by looking at this chart. The other Sean is out there saying the Dirty Birds are better than the Wings. Finally, after 4 years, I finally get to play Sean. And this proves that we do get to play against each other this year. So, let's use Sean since he's here in his case. So Sean is the Dirty Birds. He's in the NFC South. He will play everybody that's in his division twice. That's Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and Carolina. He will play everybody on the AFC side once in that same row. So he will play Buffalo, Miami, New York, and New England. And then for his strength of schedule games, he will play the 3 teams that are directly below him, which is Chicago, Seattle, and Dallas this year. We don't know when those weeks are going to be yet. That will be something that we will put together after the NFL schedule is released. As you all have heard, Toby and I, we have kind of a little bit of a skeleton of the way that we'd like to put it into, or a little bit of a template of things that we want to make sure happen with the schedule. And we have to wait for the NFL schedule to get released before we do that. So if you're not watching this now or live and you're watching it later, this will be the schedule that you'll go off of. I will more than likely, we have not put this out for anybody to see on Discord yet. Now that it's been introduced here on the show, probably put it out on Discord shortly. If I don't put it today, it'll probably be tomorrow, but it'll be a later day tomorrow. Work, Girl Scouts, all kinds of stuff going to keep me out of the house tomorrow. So it's going to be a very busy day. So that is your opponent's schedule for the 2025 season. So the big chunk of why everybody is here tonight is to hear about the APFL Coaches Carousel. So let's talk about that. So we already had a sequence of events that we created in 2024 season, which we called the Coaches Portal. And then we added to it the dispersal draft. So the Coaches Portal is a time period in which we figure out who is returning for the following season. It's basically a yes or no, the portal's open or closed. So the cutoff to find out if you were going to stay in or not return was today, 15 January, and we got an answer from all 32 teams. So we ended up having a few teams that are not coming back. Philadelphia being one of them, Minnesota team being one of them, and then on the AFC side, those two on the NFC side. On the AFC side, Cincinnati is not returning either. So let me pull up the notes here so you can see them. So we've already talked about the Coaches Portal, which is open from the end of the APFL Bowl until 15 January. So today was the close date. We actually knew a day or so ago what the intents were for all of the 32 teams. So what we're going to do this year new is open up a Coaches Carousel. The reason we are doing this is we've got wind that the Cleveland general manager would like to leave the AFC and move over to the NFC side. He wants to take the Minnesota team. At least that's what he has said to us, that he would like to take the Minnesota team. So we're going to open up the Coaches Carousel for any teams that want to move around. The way we're going to do that is priority is going to go to the teams with the most points for in the previous season's regular season, meaning for us, the 2024 season. So if there are multiple teams that want to go to the same program or to the same team, it will go in order of preference by the team that had the most points for. So in this case, let's say Cleveland moves over to Minnesota, right? So now Minnesota has a general manager in it. That means we are still missing Philadelphia on the NFC side, Cincinnati on the AFC side, and then Cleveland is now open because Cleveland is moving over to the NFC side. As you can see on the notes here that it says teams have 24 hours to enter the coaching carousel by DMing the commissioner. We're going to leave that open a little bit more than just a 24-hour period. Reason being is we want to talk through it on Discord. We want to use opportune moments to talk about it on Discord during football games this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. And because it's a brand new thing for this year, I want to make sure we do our due diligence and we don't miss anybody. So even though it says 24 hours here, that will be the way forward following this year. It will go into the rule set for 2025. For us now, as we're doing it for the very first time ever, we're going to go until 9 p.m. on Monday. Reason I'm doing that is to try to catch everybody on Saturday, try to catch everybody on Sunday, to get us to close of business all the way in the West Coast on Monday, 6 o'clock there, 9 o'clock here. That will be the closing of the portal or for the Coaches Carousel. So what we need, knowing that Cleveland wants to move over, Cleveland to give us the thumbs up through a DM, hey, Commish, I would like to move from the Cleveland franchise to the Minnesota franchise. And if anybody else wants to move over to the Minnesota first and the points for it works out in their favor, they can. But any of these other teams that want to move into them, say Philadelphia, now that Cleveland's moving, if somebody wants to move to Cleveland from the AFC side or the NFC side, This process will continue until there's no more movement requested by any of the general managers. So then the next step is what we introduced last year, which will be the dispersal draft. So after we get all the general managers settled and we get those teams replaced with new general managers, there will be a dispersal draft. Now, what does that look like for both sides of the house? As you already heard, we know that we have a couple teams that are going to be open on the NFC side, a couple teams that are going to be open on the AFC side. We've kind of opened up the talk of who wants to be part of the dispersal draft on the NFC side, at least, because it's been pretty quiet on the AFC side so far. So with Cleveland coming over to Minnesota, that will spring a dispersal draft because there will be a new general manager there. And then we will also have the open team, which is Philadelphia, which we need to fill with a general manager. 2 other teams have come on board and said that they would like to be a part of the dispersal draft on the NFC side. That is Carolina and the LA Bighorns. So what we will do for the dispersal draft is we will do a miniature version of the draft selection show, which anybody who's ever done the WRL with us knows this is where we do the dice and put you in the draft order. In this case, just 4 teams so far, 1 through 4. It'll be a snake draft back and forth until the 18 roster spots are filled. Included in those 18 roster spots, or included with all of the picks that the players that come from those teams, are also their draft picks for the 2025 season are included. And you can select a draft pick just like you would any other player. So once we do the draft selection show, everybody knows what order they're going to pick in. Then we will do a live draft with them, just like we did when we did one on the AFC side last year for Cincinnati, Jacksonville, and Indianapolis. It says here league operations begin on 12 March. The reason I kind of got that marked on there right now is that's when NFL league operations actually start. My hope is that we can get everything going with the APFL prior to that, but if not, that will be the hard date, the line in the sand of when we will actually start league operations. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. For the 7 of you that are out there watching right now, if you have any questions, let me know. Wanted to show a little bit of a graphic of what it looks like as far as the teams. Oops, I skipped too fast. The teams that are participating in the dispersal draft so far. So with the knowledge that Cleveland wants to move over to Minnesota, Minnesota, Carolina, the Bighorns, and Philadelphia on the NFC side there on the right will all be part of the dispersal draft. And now that Cleveland is going to be vacant, Cleveland, Cincinnati will be part of the dispersal draft, and any other teams from the AFC that want to take part in that. But you guys all need to come up on that and let me know. I hit everybody up on Discord earlier today, but it has been absolutely quiet. No, but we have talked about, Eric, very good question. We have thrown around the idea of the possibility of a 2-year commitment. That way somebody doesn't just do this once and then dips. The good thing about the only team that seems to want to move right now, Cleveland has already paid in for the 2025 season. He was an upgrade, but I do like the idea of the added fine that goes into winner's poll. Not a bad idea. Because we don't have it in black and white right now, probably won't for the 2025 season, unless a couple other people watch this and come up and say, hey, that sounds like a good idea that Eric presented. But it's something we can definitely push forward for 2026. It was Toby's idea. The director also came up with the idea of the possibility of making everybody pay. Yeah, let's find them, right? Somebody coming up with the idea of paying for 2 years. That way they don't just do this and dip, which is actually a pretty good idea as well. So dispersal draft on the NFC side for the moment will include Carolina, Minnesota, LA, and Philly. I think we already have a general manager to take the Philly team. So the NFC side is going to be good. And I think we might even have at least one general manager to take either the Cincinnati or the Cleveland franchise on the AFC side. So we might only be looking for one more general manager. But AFC guys, if you're out there watching right now, Eric, you being one of them, but I don't think you want to give up your team or throw your team in the dispersal draft. AFC guys, come up on the net, please, and let us know if you're going to take part in the dispersal draft. One more thing to talk about on the APFL side before we move into talking about some WRL stuff. The league safe for taking, since we're talking about money, The League Safe is open right now for anybody who wants to pay in for the 2025 season for the APFL. You definitely have to get paid in before that hard date of 12 March because that's when league operations start. Right now, we are 16 out of 32 teams, so half the league is already paid in. And of course, we have a couple of teams that we need to fill before we can get that money out of them as well. So, long story short, Coaches Portal is done. Coaches Carousel is in place right now. After the Coaches Carousel is over, we will do the draft selection shows for the teams that are going to participate in the dispersal draft. We will have the draft live, and then we will start regular league operations after that. I like that. I guess that's it. That's it for the side for the APFL. I don't have any more graphics for the rest of the night. You're just going to have to listen to my voice, my talking head as I go through. Chris has been asking this. Chris, as soon as all the dispersal drafts are done and we can start trading, I know you're itching to do it. Get your last couple league mates on your side, on the NFC side, to come on board and let us know if they're going to be part of the dispersal. We still need to hear from Washington and New Orleans. I can reach out to both of them tomorrow to find out. New Orleans easier to get a hold of than Washington is, but I will reach out to those guys tomorrow and find out what their intents are. Maybe we will have one more team that wants to throw their name in the hat. Maybe New Orleans does want to or something like that, and maybe we'll have a 5-way dispersal draft, maybe even 6 if Washington joins as well on the NFC side. All right, so for the WRL, some of you have heard this on shows. Some of you were able to watch the WRL, the 2025 WRL 101 that we did last week, and know that the Wizardry Draft League for the 2025 season is by invite only. Kind of wanted to give you an update of where we were at with that. I've been working really hard. I have actually sent out 48 invites already. We have had 43 yeses. We've had 1 no. We have 4 that are still pending after I have sent that to them. I have every intent to have all of the invites completed no later than Sunday Night Football. I guess you can consider it Sunday Night Football this week when Baltimore plays Buffalo for the divisional round of the playoffs. That kicks off at 6:30 p.m. East Coast time. If there are still some hanging chads, I will work them during the game all the way until the end, which should be about between 9:30 and 10 o'clock East Coast time. So invites have been sent out. We've had a very good response. Like I said, 48 sent out, 43 yeses and 1 no so far, with 4 still pending. So just waiting on those people to come up on the net and let us know. Something else that we had at the top of the show for our topics for the night, the APBL, so the Alliance Professional Baseball League. So we've done baseball a couple times under the umbrella of FSA, but last year was our first official year. So you too. Hey, congratulations on the baby, brother. I know we haven't got a really chance to say it voice-wise. I'm going to put it out to the world right now. Congratulations on baby. So APBL. So this will be our second year officially of doing baseball under the FSA umbrella, even though I think this is probably the fifth year that we've done it. This will be the second, hey, we're really doing this with a title of it and branding and everything like that. The intent this year was to grow from 12 teams to 16 teams because we're trying to do a little growth at a time. We lost 3 teams, but we're able to get 3 general managers to replace them really quick. So we are sitting at 12 teams still. The goal is to expand to 16, so we need 4 more teams. So if you're out there watching right now, you're one of the 9 and you're also a baseball fan and you want to try to join in on the baseball, and you wonder what's the big deal with baseball, and then Eric saying congratulations, and him also saying, and Damien also saying thank you. What's the big deal with the baseball? So here is our final line or finish line intent with baseball. It will be a promotion and relegation league. You all know how much of a stickler I am of not using trademark logos, which is why our emulation league, the APFL, uses cities and colors, but different team names and logos for our teams in the APFL. With the APBL, I'm going to roll with it and ask for forgiveness later because of the concept of what we're doing with the promotion and relegation league. Once we're able to fill the APBL at the major league level, 30 teams, then we are going to start opening it up to promotion and relegation down to the AAA, AA, and single A levels. And the final goal is, which is going to take many years, and we know this, is for us to have 120 teams that can be played at all 4 levels of baseball. So if it's something that you would be interested in, it will be Dynasty. As of right now, we're just doing redraft. Last year was a draft. We will do again draft this year. Once we're able to finally fill the major league level and we can start doing promotion and relegation, that is when we are going to turn it into a dynasty. Again, if you're interested in playing baseball, a promotion and relegation league does something for you. And the idea of having these teams where if you're, say, the Cincinnati Reds and you've had 4 bad years and you're relegated all the way down to the single A level, but whoever has the farm system team for the Reds is able to work their way all the way up to the major league level, you'll get to see that because you'll know these teams' names, which is why we're keeping the branding there. It will take us a while, but I think it's a very fun concept. We've talked about Damien being part of that, a promotion and relegation system inside football. I think we're going to probably – it's been added to the list, Damien, just so you know. It was a new add to the list. I will tell you it is every day. It is a headache to keep up with. But what we did do this year, which was even new for me from the years that I've played in other baseball leagues, and even the couple times that we've done it with FSA, but not official, we usually do Monday through Sunday, where you put your lineup in on Monday and that suffices for you for the whole week. This was the first year that we did daily lineup changes for a week-long game. That was a lot of fun. I think for me that added the little bit of realism to it, because you are going to change your lineups daily as a general manager or as a head coach for a manager for a baseball team. So I liked that a lot. So we're going to do that again next year. I need to sit down with other Eric Talbot and go over some rule sets for the 2025 season. But that's going to come pretty fast. We did the draft, I think, the second week of March last year, and we're going to try to hold on to about that same spot this year. So we've got to get those 4 more teams in. Once we get that and the draft set up and little changes to the rule set, it's not hard. We just got to get the right people in the right places. So that takes care of the league stuff. Talking to the director, Toby, today, we came up with something else that we want to do on Discord to help those that don't frequent Discord as much as they should, but do come in and poke their nose in every once in a while. We're going to change the announcements channel, which maybe a lot of you have muted right now, to something called Headlines instead. That name will change probably tonight or tomorrow. In that channel, because it can only be posted in by admins, which is me, Chris, and Kevin, we're going to put one-line headlines in there of important things that are going on with the league. Like in this case, to use something example for tonight, it would be APFL gets introduced, the Coaches Carousel. Boom, that's it. And then what we would do is at the end of it, we would put the hashtag to the channel that you would want to go and discuss that headline more. And then we will also pin that information once we move into that channel. So APFL introduces Coaches Carousel, headliner, hashtag APFL General. You go to APFL General. We'll put the information in there, more like headline is in the headline channel. The rest of the story is in the APFL General channel. And then we will pin that in there. Not sure how many people go and look at the pins, but we're hoping that this will become a regular thing. So you'll know, ooh, let me go check the headlines to see what's changed. Does it pertain to me? Let me go to that channel instead of having to scroll forever, because sometimes we can get really chatty in there based on the topic. You can go to the pins and find the important information. So if you're not a frequent flyer of the Discord, when you come in, you will be able to find the most important things that you need. So baseball every day is not a headache. Okay, so is it on MFL too? No, MFL is only for football. So yeah, it's funny because as me and Gerard sat down and talked about the concept of promotion relegation and stuff like that, in my brain, I kept thinking, MFL because we've used it for so long, right? But it is only for baseball or for football. I'm sorry. So we went out and searched for a place that does something like this. Fantrax does it, and Fantrax does a lot of sports actually on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to run on Yahoo with the APBL until Yahoo can no longer support the size of the league. Then we will move over to Fantrax to be able to do what we want to do. Multiple copies of players being able to move up in levels, promotion and relegation and stuff like that. We've already exchanged emails with the programmers of Fantrax to make sure it is doable. And they've already written us back all the way back last year when we even had the concept that it is in fact doable. There will be a little bit more of checks and balances that need to be done by the commissioner and co-commissioner to make sure that it can still work. But it is completely possible what we want to do once we grow past what Yahoo will allow us to do. Eric, I'm guessing you're responding to the idea for the Discord. And I thought it was a great idea as well. When Toby brought it up to me today, I took note over here on the side paper, and I said I will definitely put that on the show tonight. So I don't know if it'll be tonight or if it'll be tomorrow. Like tonight, I really want to get a good night's sleep. So it'll probably be tomorrow before I'm around to doing it. But the very first thing that will go on there will be APFL introduces Coaches Carousel headline, hashtag APFL General, put the body of the message that's there, pin it. So if, like I said, if you're not a frequent flyer of the Discord, you'll know where to go to figure out the important stuff. And then you can go to those channels and check the pin messages. That way you can dip in. And then outside of that, if you want, of course, always to participate with us in all of the chatter and all of the things that we have, you can always come in, but this will be a way for you to see the hot topics that you need to. I came back, the other day when you guys were talking about whatever that rank thing was that we were doing. I think, Damien, what was it, like the most hated players or something like that? And we were all trying to figure out what that was. And I came back to like 127 messages. And of course, my Discord isn't working right until this morning whenever my phone went through some kind of update. And so I wasn't getting any of those alerts. So when I finally went into the channels to see what was going on, and man, it was a lot of stuff that was in there. But don't be sorry, man. We love to have you in there with all of the chatter. But this will be a way for those people that, again, don't come in very often, can see the highlights, need to know what they need to know, and move on. Most hated and most liked. Okay, I was wondering what the second list was. I didn't scroll all the way back up to find out what that other list was. I definitely was seeing all of the chat about the most hated players, though. All right, so you'll see that change on Discord, like I said, probably tomorrow. Quick recap, APFL Coaches Carousel, up and running. I will put that out there tomorrow because I know not everybody is here tonight. AFC teams, if you're going to participate in the dispersal draft on the AFC side, let me know. And I need a yes or a no. Like, Eric, if you're not going to do it, let me know that you're not going to do it so I can put you on the list of no, you don't want to participate in it. WRL, the invites are almost done. I will make sure that they are out no later than the Sunday night game, Baltimore versus Buffalo, 6:30 p.m., even if I have to continue rolling with them all the way until that game is done. That way we know what we've got rolling into 2025 already for the WRL. So as soon as the Super Bowl is over and MFL allows us to roll over the league, we will roll that over. And then if you're interested in playing baseball, let me know. We need 4 more teams. We'll get you thrown in on that and look for the changes on Discord tomorrow. Next broadcast will be next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure something will come up where we will be able to have a broadcast. Like tonight should have been a short one, and we still talking for 30 minutes. Want to thank all of the sponsors. Eric says, I am a maybe on dispersal. That's kind of the problem. I want to see what players are available to determine if it's worth me dropping my own. So I know it's a slow process. Like you want to see which team is going to do it and you want to hold off to the last second. It's almost like not showing your hand until you're ready for it. I'm the same way right now. If we get another team involved in it, I might throw the wings in there. But with it being just Cleveland and Cincinnati, I might not. So we got to see if we can, if anybody else is going to pull the trigger on the AFC side and try to join it or not. So last thing, thank you to all the sponsors, SMS, Nature Coast Apparel, the Recast. Thank you all for everything you've done for us in this 2024 season as we're coming close to the end of it. We will talk again next week about whatever topics we can come up with. Hope you all have a great night. Let's get out of here before we hit the 30-minute mark. Hit me up on Discord if you need anything. You all have a great night.